Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Now we are going to discuss one of the most important thing in Kotlin coroutine, which is job. So let's say you want to execute a piece of code using Kotlin coroutine. Now this particular code is not executed instantly. Instead, it is inserted into a queue. Now in this queue, we have this job variable, and this job will eventually provide you information about your Kotlin coroutine. What is job? Well, job is nothing but it is a handle for our coroutine. It has a very few fields and functions, but it will provide you a lot of extensibility. So let's see what are the extensibility it will provide us. So we have a main function. Return type is unit. I'm using here not run. I'm using a run blocking. Cool. So in this run blocking, I want to create a job. Well, job is nothing but a coroutine. So when you use launch coroutine builder, eventually the return type of launch is a job. If you want to see it, just control click on this launch. There we go. This is job. Nice. Come back to our main activity. I want to use here a repeat loop. In this we have print statement. This is the loop number, and also I want to introduce delay of 300 milliseconds. Nice. So we have this job, and I want this job started lazily. So coroutine start is lazy. So this particular job is not executed until and unless you will start it manually. So how do we start it? Well, we have job.start, and also we have a lot of functions with job. Join, start, cancel, invoke on completion, is active, children, is cancelled. So we will discuss everything one by one. So let's begin with start. So what it will do? Well, it will simply start our code in execution. And lastly, I'm gonna print this is done. Nice. So when I execute it, you will see this is done. This is 0, 1, 2, 3. Right, because this block will take some time for their execution. That's the reason we will see this is done first, and after that we will see all of this print statement that we have. Now what will happen if I just use join and execute it? You will see the behavior. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, and this is done. Because join is a suspendable function, what it will do? It will complete all of your execution that you have been mentioned within your Kotlin coroutine, and once it's done, then it will start the execution of our next line. And this is the reason why we are seeing here 0, 1, 2, 3, and after this is done. Okay, so this is the main difference between start and join. So if you want to wait until and unless your execution is not completed, you are not going to execute the next line, you will use join. Otherwise you can use start. Now let's say I want to cancel this job. So for that, just remove this lazy invocation. So now when you execute it, it will start the execution of your launch, or you can say your coroutine, because we are not passing the lazy invocation. Let's say I want to cancel this job. So how can we do it? Well, it's very easy. You can simply use here cancel, and it will cancel your job. So this is done. Because our job is cancelled, we are not going to see any kind of print statement that is present in our coroutine. Nice. We have one more function in here. We have invoke on completion, and it will give you the cost. If let's say your coroutine will throw any kind of exception, it will catch those exception and provide it in this invoke on completion. So if cost is not null, I want to print here the message. Otherwise I'm gonna print here this is invoke on completion. Okay, so execute it. You can see stand alone coroutine was cancelled. Nice. Stand alone coroutine, because when you click on this launch, if you are not passing start is lazy, then it will use standalone coroutine instead of lazy standalone coroutine. Let's say I want to pass few message while cancelling our coroutine. So for that you can simply use your cancellation exception. This is cancel message, and now when you execute it, you will see this message will be printed over here. This is done, and this is the cancel message. Well, this print statement is present over here. So after the execution of your job, it will simply invoke this particular block with those exceptions that you might throw during the execution. You will see the nullability check, and after that you can very easily print it. So this is how you can actually cancel a job. every job that you are creating will also have certain state. So if you want to see these states, you can use job is, and we have three states: it's active, is completed, and is cancelled. Let's discuss it very briefly. So when you create a job, by default it is in the new state, and when you are not using start as coroutine context.lazy, by default it goes into an active state. Now in this active state we have two scenarios: either your job will start its execution and go towards the completing state, or it go towards the cancelling state. So in completing state, if all of your children that you have with this job has completed their execution, it is eventually become the completed state. That means execution of your job is done. Let's say one of your children will throw an exception. Now this will eventually cancel all of your job. Now in this case it goes into the cancelling state, and lastly it goes into the cancelled state. So this is the states we have under the hood. Now cancelling and completing are some internal states. You cannot take the information about those states. If you do so, it will return you information about is active or active state. So we have here three flags. Is active will return you information about the active state. Is completed will return you information about the completed state, whether it is completed or not. And we have is cancelled. So it will return you information about the cancelled state, whether it is cancelled or not. So this is states we are having under the hood with jobs. Now it's a very good time to start our journey to discuss parent-child relationships in job. So for that I'm gonna remove all of this code. Well, it's very easy. I'm gonna create a variable naming job, and I'm gonna start a coroutine, or you can say a job. Now if you create one more launch within this, eventually it will become children's of our top level launch, or you can say top level job. We have another launch, we have another launch, we have another launch, we have another launch, we have another launch. So we have a lot of launch. That means this parent contains a lot of children's, right? Now what will happen if I want to throw an exception from my last children's of this hierarchy, job hierarchy? What will happen? Well, in this case your parent job execution is terminated. This is because of structured concurrency. And also when you cancel this job, it is automatically cancelled all of their children's. This is also because of structured concurrency. This is how it was built. So let's see that. So first I'm gonna throw an exception, and in this exception I'm gonna print some message, and lastly I'm using job invoke on completion and check the cause, print the message. So it dot message. Right now when I execute it, you will see this cause. This is the cause message, and we are getting this exception. Cool. Now what will happen if I cancel this job? Does it also cancel all of these children's? Well, let's see. So for that I'm gonna remove this exception and use here print ln. This is child, or you can say this is last children. I'm gonna just copy this. This is, let's say, 0th, 1, 2, alright. So now I'm gonna use job cancel and join. So what is the difference between cancel and join? Well, if you just control click on it, in this we have two different functions. We have cancel and join. So first it will cancel your coroutine, and after that it waits for the confirmation whether it is completed or not. If it is completed, then only it will proceed with the next line. So this is the difference between cancel and join. Nice. So let me execute it. Okay, so you can see standalone coroutine was cancelled, and if our parent is cancelled, by default it cancel all of our children's. Due to that reason you are not going to see these print statements. So this is the first way of establishing parent-child relationship. Now I'm going to show you one more way of doing this. Just create one more launch, and in this launch again I'm going to use a repeat for 4 times. I'm using here print ln, this is parent, and I just print here the loop count number. Delay of, let's say I want to introduce here delay of 300 milliseconds. So this is my parent, and now I'm gonna copy this, paste in here. This is my job 2. I want to repeat this loop for 3 times, and its duration is 100 millis. Now if you want to establish a parent child relationship between these two, what you can do, you can simply pass in a place of context, or you can say coroutine context.element this job. So now this first job will eventually become the parent of our job 2. Nice. So let me just remove it, and I want to execute it. Okay, so this is parent, this is parent, this is parent. This is because in both print statement I'm using a parent. Let's use child, and now when you execute it, you will see parent child, parent child, child child, parent parent parent. Nice. So as I said to you, when you throw any exception from this children job, eventually it stops the execution of this parent. So let's do that. Throw exception, some gibberish, and execute it. Okay, so this is parent, this is child, and after that we will see this exception because of invoke on completion print statements, and after that we have this exception message. Cool. Now I'm gonna create one more job, and this time I'm going to show you our parent job is active until and unless all of their job complete their execution. So we have here job 3, and I'm going to remove this delay, right? So job, that means this is a parent of job 2 and job 3. This is children, let's say I'm using here children 1 and I'm using here children 2. Nice. And also I want to print some information about my parent job. So how can we do this? Remove this throw because I want to just show you whether our parent is active or not. So for that I'm using println function info about parent, and in this information I'm gonna use job is active, job is completed, job is cancelled. So logically your parent job will take only few moments to complete, but your children's will surely take little more time. So now when I execute, you can see all the time we will see this parent is active is true. This is because our children is not finished their execution. Due to that reason our parent job is not completed their execution. I hope you got the point. Your parent will never stops their execution until and unless all of your children not finishes their tasks. So this is a relation between parent and child in jobs. Now within job, let's say you want to check whether this job is active or not. So you can do that thing very easily. So for that you should use here is active. So this will give you information about your job whether it is active or not. We have one more function naming ensure active. So what's the main difference between is active and ensure active? Let's say you cancelled this job but somehow it is not stopping their execution. So in this scenario you surely want to cancel this job execution. So this surety will be provided by ensure active. So every time when your loop execute or every time your coroutine execute, it will check whether this coroutine was cancelled or not. If it was cancelled, it surely throw an cancellation exception. So by doing it, it will simply stops your job or coroutine execution. But with is active, it is not the case. It simply checks whether it is active or not and simply start or stops your execution. It depends on the active state. But with ensure active, it is not the case. It is all the time checking whether it is cancelled or not. So if it was cancelled, it simply throw cancellation exception. Otherwise, it continue your execution. So this is the difference between is active and ensure active. And ensure active is used when you want some surety for your coroutine to be cancelled. So you can use ensure active. Lastly, we have supervisor job. Well, the main difference between normal job and supervisor job is with supervisor job, it simply digests your exception and continues their execution. So let's see with an example. So for that, I'm gonna just remove everything and I'm using here supervisor job. Also, I want a scope. So create a code in scope, and in this context, we can pass job and dispatcher. So for dispatchers, I'm using here dispatcher dot default. All right. So now I'm gonna create here job one launch, and I want to launch this thing on this scope. So scope dot launch, repeat this thing for 4 times, use here print ln. This is first job and you can mention the count. Use delay of 300 milliseconds. So this is for the job one. I'm gonna simply copy this stuff, paste in here. This will become job 2. Well, I'm using this job here in our scope. Automatically all of this job will become the part of our supervisor job. So supervisor job act as a parent for these jobs, job 1 and job 2. Nice. So after this delay, I want to throw exception, and in this exception, job 2 throws an exception. Nice. So as I said to you, because we are using supervisor job, it simply digests your exception and continue their execution. I want to use one more job, naming job 3. Okay, so this is my third job, this is my second job. Nice. And at the end, I just want this invocation block. So now when I execute it, okay, so process finished with exit code 0. So let's see why it is happening. Okay, so I forgot to manually start this job. So use job.join and now execute it. Okay, so you can see this is first job 0, this is third job, second job, whatever. At the end, you can see job 2 throws an exception, but after that, it's still continuing our execution. So this is a difference between a normal job and supervisor job. Supervisor job internally uses by our view model scope. I hope you got the point, and also I hope you got everything which is related to job. We have discussed a lot of things. We have discussed about the job, we have discussed about its state, we have discussed about the parent-child relations that we have with jobs. I want to tell you one more thing which is a bit interesting. So for that, let me just remove these jobs, and also I want to remove these things, remove this scope, and also remove this scope. Nice. So let's say in this job 1, I'm using start as Kotlin start dot lazy, right? And I want to make this job 1 as parent of my job 2. Nice. So logically, until and unless you will not trigger this job 1 manually, it will never start execution. But when you execute it, you can see it starts its job. Well, this is somehow it's related to the behavior, because our children, sometimes our children is also able to execute the execution of our parent. Now in this case, our children will force the parent to start their execution. This is a reason why we are seeing these things. So basically it starts the execution of our parent, and if I remove this, you will see all of the parent statements. Cool. So that's it for this video. I think you got everything related to the job. If you have any doubts or any suggestions, you can put that thing in the comment box. We will meet in our next video where we will discuss something new about Kotlin Coroutine. Till that, goodbye.